want to give you a brief presentation of the emergency management system. We have an emergency management team. The city has an emergency management team, and we work in concert with the emergency management team for the county. That team is composed of the members that you see projected here on the board, myself, Lieutenant Rowe, both of us with GPD. Then we have the Assistant City Manager, Paul Focus, who we report to, Director Teresa Scott, Assistant Director Phil Mann, Admin Director Becky Roundtree, Fire Chief Gene Prince, and Assistant Deputy Chief for Fire Don Sessions, along with Captain Sean Hillhouse. We meet on a monthly basis to review our readiness and to review the plans that we have in place so that we can be responsive and do what we think is going to be needed to prepare for an emergency event. We have different levels of activation. We can have a storm come through here that floods the streets or floods a particular neighborhood, and we may have a lower level activation. Typically, we have trees that are down where anytime we get to a point where we're going to use more than one service responder. So if we're going to use, say, the police and public works, or the police and fire, or all three entities to deal with some type of emergency event, then we have an activation for it. The activation may be 2 or 3 people, or it could be a whole room of people, and that's going to be covered later on by Lieutenant Rowe. But I want to make sure that there's a clear understanding that every month we meet, we review the readiness as far as what our facilities are capable of. We review our plans. Each department is supposed to have a continual operation plan. We sit down and make sure that from a city perspective, that we secure our property, that we come up with a mechanism for dealing with the worst case situation. Luckily, we haven't had to employ that in quite a while. I think 2003, 2004 was the last time we had a significant weather event that caused us to have a serious activation. Other than that, we have isolated incidents that occur, and this team of people here are responsible for making sure the city is prepared to deal with that. I'm going to have Lieutenant Rowe come up and take care of the presentation from here.
David Rowe, Lieutenant with the GPD, and we'll go through this hopefully fairly quickly. Again, as the captain said, the emergency management team evaluates the organization's capability to execute the department-specific response plans and/or contingency plans. We do meet monthly. The team meets monthly from January through November. We review, update the city's emergency management plan annually. Matter of fact, I think we just updated last year our emergency management plan, which had not been updated since 2007. We talked about the City of Gainesville emergency plan activation levels. Our level 3 is operations are normal, which is what we are in most of the time. Then we have some accelerated operations where we may just bring the team together and discuss some things that may be coming. We monitor the weather, see where we may be affected by storms coming through Gainesville or passing through the state of Florida, and see if there's anything that we need to do to put in place to get ready for that event. And then our level 1 operations are our emergency operations, where we will do a full-blown activation. We will all meet over at the city's emergency operations center, which is coming back to GPD with the completion of our new building. The last couple years during the construction, it's been up at Public Works. And it was at GPD prior to at the old 721 Northwest 6th Street building. Some of you may have had occasion to be in there during an emergency. But anyway, that's where we're at on that as far as our level of activations. The City of Gainesville uses the Incident Command System, or ICS, for command and management of incidents. Police, fire, public works, and other supervisory personnel receive appropriate National Incident Management System related training. I know for law enforcement specifically, that's part of the curriculum for training statewide and the police academy, and I believe that fire personnel have the same thing. Once we receive initial training in ICS, then the additional training is available via Mr. Donnelly's shop at the county level as far as command and control management, things of that nature. And there's just some more acronyms in there regarding command and control management of situations. This is all based out of FEMA. So I think that the theory behind that is for nationwide to be able to communicate through all these different entities from the federal level on down through the local level. For the city of Gainesville, we have four major branches of our plan: operations planning, finance, and logistics. Each branch is assigned 2 representatives from the police, fire, and public works departments. That helps us to facilitate 24-hour operations. And other city personnel are also assigned to that for ancillary functions. So if we have a full-blown emergency activation, then we have a primary representative for each of these departments or each of these branches, and then we have a backup. So, and then for our emergency services personnel, our fire and our police and our public works, we put them on 12-hour shifts, so an Alpha shift and a Bravo shift. So there's full 24-hour coverage. As Captain Scott said, we haven't had to utilize that since, I believe, 05 from those hurricanes. We got close for Tropical Storm Faye back in 08. But thankfully, it hasn't come to that point yet. We've been lucky the last few years. And this is pretty much the organizational chart for the city's plan. The incident command, the big diamond in the middle, unified command system, and then the commission you'll see off to the right. So you'll be communicating with the city manager, and in a perfect world, you won't need to have a whole lot of input unless it comes down to a declaration of an actual emergency. And then we go back down, follow through the rest of this plan, and you see how it kind of lays out. And that goes hand in hand with what they do on the county level also.
This is not just about during the event. There's a lot that happens prior to the hurricane or weather event that was something that we know before you ever get into it. There's a lot of preparation to getting ready for it. And then afterwards, afterwards is probably just as more labor intensive than actually going through it, because you have to get everything back up and operating, get everybody back into their homes and open the streets up and take care of all these things. It's a lot, and we cover all this in our preparations, and that's the most important thing that we want to make sure that you are aware of today, is that we believe that we're ready. We believe that we're done taking the necessary steps to prepare for a weather event or any emergency.